the obsessive and excessive doing that most people are engaged in because they need to become somebody and add more to me, and that, not that kind of doing, but doing that is part of being here as a form, and that involves being engaged in some kind of activity without loss of peace. In fact, and activities into which peace flows, joy, that is peace and joy are one, as the most essential energy in the doing. And so if presence arises very suddenly in you, then you may need to wait, may take years before you can fully live again and interact with the world in that new state. Maybe not, maybe if you have the help of a teaching, you can more quickly incorporate it and then begin to live it in this world. It took Ramana Maharshi many years before he could operate normally again. He couldn't even speak, or had no desire to speak anymore. He didn't even want to feed himself anymore. What for? And so he just sat immersed in the bliss of being for years. It was his great luck that it didn't happen to him in the West, because probably he would have spent the rest of his days in a mental home. But he was there in India, and people came to feed him. They left him, but somebody always would come and feed him, and gradually he would start putting food in his mouth and showing some interest in the external, never an excessive interest, but just looking, and then people would ask questions, and at first there was no answer, and then at some point he started scribbling an answer, and then he was able to speak again, and then could function quite normally, but always, of course, with great stillness. And something happened to me that is similar, although not as extreme, fortunately, otherwise I wouldn't be here, I would still be shut away. The complete loss of interest in future, the complete loss of all ambition, of achievement, of doing anything, that lasted for a few years. And then gradually, the ability came back to do, but in a very different way, doing with peace and joy. With most of you, it arises more gradually, so you can more easily find a way of incorporating that into your life. But for some people, there may come a time when you feel it's pointless to do anything because it's so good to just be. Or maybe you just do the minimum. There are people to whom this has happened who gave up great jobs in the world and became gardeners or things that they could very easily stay present. They did manual jobs. They gave up the reputable job and just did the minimum of what was required. All these things, there can be no predicting what will happen as this shift happens within you. But it is possible and it is beautiful. You are not condemned to passivity now. In fact, as you learn to live in that beautiful state, then whatever you do, when you finally do, has the creative spark to it. It has quality to it.